Well, a new book co-authored by a former RCMP and military intelligence official alleges the United States ran a secret probe into Chinese operations here in Canada. The book, titled The Mosaic Effect: How the Chinese Communist Party Started a Hybrid War in America's Backyard, cites a 1998 memo from the U.S. Department of Justice. It expresses alarm about Chinese influence over businesses and high-profile figures here in Canada as well as in other countries. Now, CBC News has obtained a copy of the memo but has not been able to verify its authenticity. However, a former member of the intelligence service, an analyst for the U.S. National Security Agency, has confirmed American agencies were concerned about Chinese activities in Canada, and a former CSIS senior intelligence officer tells us he was aware of the U.S. operation. Well, Michelle Junot Katsuya, says Canadian policymakers have been ignoring warnings from him and others for decades. Katsuya joins us now from Rimouski, Quebec. Michelle, thank you so much for taking time. We know this story keeps evolving. How serious is China's political interference from your perspective in Canadian politics?
It became extremely serious, and it became extremely dangerous also for our democracy, for our system. I was the chief of Asia Pacific for CSIS in the mid-90s when we were corresponding with our U.S. counterpart, and we were exchanging data, we were exchanging worries about what was going on. When we published our report, it was totally cited, and nobody wanted to pay attention to what we were saying. At that period of time, we could have been capable to probably mitigate the threat that China was starting to engage against us. Today, it has evolved to the size that now the revelation of the Globe and Mail tells us. And this whistleblower is doing us a service to reveal what all government, every party, every government has ignored for decades now. So it's not only this current government that is at fault. All previous governments were also ignoring what we were saying.
So, Michelle, as you said, you've been raising these flags of interference for years. Why do you think it has taken so long for all of this to come out publicly?
I think there is two reasons. One of the reasons is that there was an element of partisanry. There was an element that could be useful to the government in power or the people who wanted to get in power or stay in power. And they saw useful to simply keep a certain statu quo. The other element is definitely we have evidence that we have been infiltrated by agents of influence, people working on behalf of the Chinese intelligence service, not necessarily spy, but people who have been recruited and being capable to influence the power at bay. So this has been going on for the last 40 years, from Mr. Mulroney all the way to Mr. Trudeau today. Every prime minister has been compromised at one point or another by those agents of influence.
Every prime minister, you say, has been compromised by those agents?
Every prime minister. Every government, every offices was compromised. And when we brought the warning, nobody listened.
That is quite the assertion to make, sir. How much do you think, considering that, is this a security risk for Canadians?
It is a phenomenal security risk because basically you can ask yourself the question, who's really running the country? Is it a foreign entity or is it our government? And this is the problem that we are currently facing, is that we have been neglecting. And at the end of the day, we might need an independent body to investigate properly what is going on currently. Not a question of finding the culprit in the past, but definitely trying to take the measures today in order to protect ourselves for the futures. And we need to sort of inspire ourselves from some action that were taken, like, for example, in 2017 in Australia, they vote for a law against foreign interference. We need that kind of tools to be capable to enforce some kind of protection, and as the whistleblower was saying, some form of accountability as well.
And I just want to circle back to what you just said, because that was quite the allegation. I just would like you perhaps to go into detail about how you would know that every, as you said, prime minister has been affected by this. Can you give us some evidence behind that assertion?
I cannot go and give evidence at this point because it would be too sensitive. I don't think it is the right venue to give the evidence at this point. But definitely I can say we had evidence. The proof is that you have somebody today that gave and leaked very important documents supporting what basically I'm telling today. And we have way back documents coming back from the mid-90s that sort of proved also that kind of situation. I think it is to be investigated by the proper body that will be independent and accountable to the public, basically, because we need now to be capable to assure that future government will not fall into the same groove and replicate what the previous governments have been doing.
All right, so we will be watching for that, but we do know that, Michel, you will be appearing in front of a special committee this week. Can you give us a sense of what you're going to say?
Basically, it will be in the same perspective, and I'll be offering also some options and action that needs to be taken if we are serious at protecting our democracy. But definitely what needs to be done is to put the kind of framework and accountability system that will prevent any temptation, because this is what happened at the end. This is the temptation that the previous government led themselves to let certain situations evolve to the point where they were manipulated.
Okay, Michel, we'll leave it there for now. Former CSIS Senior Intelligence Officer Michel Junot-Katsuya, thank you very much.